So if you are in your early 20s, I'm going to share with you lessons that I wish I knew at that age. What's going on, everyone? My name is Emeroy. I've been dancing for over 25 years, teaching for over 15, and dancing professionally for over a decade. A little bit of caveat here. I don't know your circumstances. Everyone's lives are different. I'm just sharing you lessons from my experience. It might land, it might not, but hopefully something here is useful to you guys. So the first thing is get specific with your vision. What is it exactly that you want to do with dance? Are you trying to be a backup dancer and touring dancer for Sabrina Carpenter? Do you want to be a touring dancer? Do you want to dance in theater, theme parks? Do you want to do corporate events? Do you want to be a judge? There's a lot of aspects in the umbrella of being a professional dancer, because once you get specific on what you're trying to do, then that vision, that goal can help dictate the actions that you need to take in order to get there. So if you're trying to be a touring dancer, find out who choreographs support your favorite artist, go to their class, go as consistently as possible, build relationships, get feedback, and maybe they might book you in being a part of the skeleton crew, or have you come along and work with them. The other aspect is going to cattle calls, if they even have those. As far as I know, those are few and far between. As far as I know, the last one I did was Khalid. And those cattle call auditions are massive. Literally waiting for 2-3 hours to show maybe 30 seconds of your dance, and good luck if you get it, if you look the part, have the skill, but primarily if you fit the vision of what they're going for. So again, I'm a person of nuance. Things change. You might discover that in your process of trying to chase being a touring dancer, you might not like it as much. And you might find out that you like doing theater instead, which is a whole different game. But you're still touring, but you're not exactly a backup dancer for an artist. But at least you'll be the main thing. The pay might be different depending on the company that you work with, but things might change. I'm not saying this is very different from saying every opportunity you say yes to, because some opportunities are distractions. But if in your heart and soul that you're saying like, I don't know if I want to be like, I don't want to keep doing these auditions for these artists, or I'm tired of theme parks or whatever it is, it's okay to change your mind. All right, so to make this a little bit more actionable, because the thing with goals is like, here's the thing and there's a huge gap in between and you have to take actions. And the way I have really liked approaching goals is using the scientific method. If I do this, then this happens, and then pretty much review the results. So if I go to Kyle Hanagami's class consistently for at least 100 classes, then I might be in a skeleton crew, or then I might be booked for work. I don't know. That's just a pie in the sky kind of hypothesis, but it's more specific. If I go to his class, this might happen, and then you review. And it's also specific. If I go to his class 100 times, minimum 100 times, give yourself 100 shots before shifting, because then you'll have at least feedback and experience and some data in what you need to do, or in how to improve, or if you need to shift. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you go to 100 auditions, you'll get some work. Right. So the second thing is, if you're really trying to go into professional dance or just going pro in general, then you do the work. You do the work regardless of how you feel. I know a lot of dancers are going to be working regular 9-to-5s or part-time jobs in between. I know it's going to be exhausting, but you got to be able to do the work regardless of how you feel. And if it truly is that important to you, that you really want to make this happen, it's not enough to want it. It's not enough to say it. Your actions will always speak louder than words, because at the end of the day, it's the results. You show up and do the work, which preps you for the auditions, for the big show that you're trying to do. But that doesn't happen if you let the daily fatigue of life's demands get in the way of what you really want. I know there's a lot of moments of us that have had instances of, I don't feel like going to dance class, I don't feel like going to rehearsals, I don't feel like working out. And then, I don't know if you guys have done this, but you just do it anyways, because it's what I consider it's part of the job. If I am a professional dancer, I need to take class, I need to train, I need to take care of my body. It's essentially an identity shift. You're taking the identity of what a professional dancer does. So if I were to ask you the question, like, what do you think a pro does? What do you think a professional dancer does? And you'll probably list all the things that they likely do that you are not doing, that you could probably do. And there's probably aspects that the that they are doing that you can't do yet. For example, professional dancers have 8-hour rehearsals, but they're also likely to be training, likely to be taking care of their body, likely to be resting. You know, I mean, that's my approach to it: resting, training, taking care of my body, eating right, all this stuff. Ultimately, they show up and do the work, regardless of how they feel. So for me, what did it look like when I decided to go pro? For me, that meant taking care of my body in terms of strength training, because a lot of the dance stuff I do decided to address some of the muscular imbalances that actually affected my back and my shoulder and my knees. That strength training, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, training on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and rehearsals on Sundays. That's my way of putting in the work to take care of the body. And along with that is nutrition. I trying to make sure I hit my protein intake, my fiber intake. Do I still enjoy myself? Yeah. I just avoid the crazy, heavy processed fat foods the day before a show or the day of a show, because I know I'm going to feel like shit when I perform and groggy. So I'd much rather have a nice cheat day to essentially enjoy it, and preferably no performances the following day. The other thing too is throughout all the training, also recovery. And the recovery protocol, I've shared this a handful of times in some videos. 10 to 15 minutes in the sauna, 5 minutes in the pool. The gym I'm at doesn't have an ice bath, so we settle for the pool. It's cool enough. Then hot tub for 15 minutes, and then the pool again, and then the sauna for another 5 minutes, and then pretty good. And honestly, that protocol right there has been fantastic, especially after long days of rehearsal, or where I have a rehearsal and then a performance. So the lesson again is, if you're gonna go pro, show up regardless if you're tired, optimize and figure out what the actions are. If I were to ask you, what are the actions a professional would do, you'd probably know what to do, and then that would be your action steps. All right, the next step is preparation kills the nerves. I'll specifically talk about auditions, because there's another level of preparation when you're doing shows. It's just like you do the reps and you make sure you know your fucking choreography and your blocking, and then that's it. My first audition, it was my first agency audition. I went into it pretty green. I was pretty naive, thinking like the training that I had done through high school and a little bit of some of the classes I went to were enough. So went in there, learned it as best I could, and once it was my group's turn, I completely forgot everything. I looked to my right, I looked to my left to see if they knew what they were doing. They fucking blanked out too. And our group shat bricks and had no idea what we were doing. But thankfully, the crowd cheered us on to try to keep going. And in that moment, thankfully, I freestyled instead. I went to the judges' table and just started doing my thing to try to get their attention. And they told me to stay for the specialty round. Now, for the specialty round, if you've never done that, it's essentially if you've got tricks, if you can do a tumbling pass, if you do a certain dance style, that's essentially what that is, a specialty. When it was my turn to go, instead of going with breaking and locking, I fucking decided to crump, which is a style I barely trained in. I had thought that they had wanted me to do a different style. No, they wanted me to fucking do the thing that I did earlier. In my head, I was like, I already did that. Why would I want to do it again? And all that is because I hadn't taken enough classes to help with my pickup and retention prior to that, nor did I really clean up the foundation of breaking and locking, or even crumping, to really professionally perform it. Fast forward to the next audition night for the Nintendo Land opening at Universal Studios. What made that whole audition less stressful for me was the fact that I had been training in breaking. I already had a handful of tricks that I knew that were good crowd pleasers, so I knew I had that in the bag. Second is because I'd been dancing consistently with choreography, which helped, especially with the recent projects that Temper Tantrum were doing. We were working at an incredibly fast pace, which helped with choreography and retention. And then third, I don't know how many auditions I've been to at this point. I was familiar with the process. So the 5 other things that have helped me get ready for auditions is sleep, lift, get there early, make connections, enjoy the moment. Okay, sleep is one of the best ways to get ready for an audition. It helps relax your brain. Now, the other thing that I like doing, if the audition's later on in the day, if it's a 9 a.m. audition, I don't do the lifting, but if I get a light lift in, a full body workout, 3 sets to 12 or 15, Nothing too intense, nothing that burns out the CNS, but enough for me to get a nice connection with the body. Getting there early, I know it can get nerve-wracking, especially when you go to these auditions. It's very overstimulating and it can be anxiety-inducing. Loud music, people, so much people all over there, and then you're trying to find a space to warm up, fill out the 4 hours, put on a number. If you get there early, you warm up with less people, and then get used to the environment, let the nerves settle. The next thing is to make connections. If you're there early, you can potentially talk with the casting directors, right, or any of the other dancers that are coming in early. You can start making friends that way. So it gets me out of my head, because once you're there, it's very easy to get lost in the whole thing of like, I hope I don't mess up. I hope I do well. I wonder what the choreography is. I want just talk to other people, because some people are just equally as nervous as you, and talking about it helps build that connection. Because you're in the trenches together, but also helps to feel seen and not alone. And the last thing is, have fun, be in the moment, because you're getting to an audition. Not everyone has an opportunity to even be at this audition. Yeah, so last year I was able to go to the Jabberwockies audition, and a lot of people that I thought that should have been there weren't there. It's being able to be at an audition to potentially get paid for something that you love and that you're good at is a blessing. So enjoy the moment. And I know that's hard, especially if you're very attached to wanting to get the gig. I switched the focus to, if I feel proud that I killed the choreography, that's it. If I hit, especially when I do the specialty rounds, as long as I hit these certain things that I know that are crowd pleasers, I'll likely get it. If not, that's fine. They're probably not looking for it. They might be looking for a different aspect of dance. Those are like small things that I've considered wins, rather than I messed up on this small part of the choreography because you only had like 20 minutes to learn the whole thing. So after the audition, just make sure that you acknowledge 2 or 3 things that you did well and 1 thing that you can improve on. So don't beat yourself up over it. All right, so the next thing is manage your energy, especially during the auditions. One of the things that I saw at audition, some of these dancers were doing every practice run when we were in the practice room full out, to the point that they were likely exhausted when it was their turn to be judged, and they were already taxed and they pushed themselves so far that they threw up. And if you don't manage your energy and you go full out right off the bat, you're not going to last in the marathon of the audition. So for me, once I have the combo down, I mark it a couple times just to hear the music. Then I do it full out, not all the time. And then I do one mentally. There's a whole thing of like a visualization. If I can do it here clearly, then there's enough mind-body connection for me to do it physically. Through that visualization, I find what are the weak spots in the choreography. Then I practice it physically. So it's just pacing your energy, marking it when you need to, just to make sure that the choreography and timing feels familiar, doing it full out so that way you can fully extend and perform it the way you need to, and visualizing it so that way you're saving your physical energy for the actual audition. I mean, other tactics too is like I go around the room and change directions to help play with my mind a little bit, because you can easily get comfortable staying at the same spot either in a class or in a practice room. But once you go in front of the judges, for me, it feels like a completely different environment. Even though I just took 20 steps to be in front of the judges, it just feels different. Next thing is, recovery is a part of the training. And if you ain't taking care of it and you get hurt, you are out of the job, not getting paid for 3 months, 6 months, or even a year. I was almost on the road of just retiring from dance at the age of 29 with a back brace, a shoulder brace, and 2 knee braces. That made me reflect on, like, do I really want to keep dancing? Am I going to be able to keep doing this for any longer? Because I keep getting injured. And if I want to keep dancing, I need to do something different so I don't get fucking injured. So I think I already shared my recovery protocol earlier. If you have some extra cash to get the tools to help with recovery, go with that. But the most crucial recovery tool is sleep. Recovery is what's going to keep you going. So the 6th thing is that every room resets to 0. Don't assume that your last audition is going to dictate how you perform this one. If it's another fucking day. Same thing with performance days. Don't assume that yesterday's wins will carry into today. The next thing is build your body of work and then protect it. I'm not against doing free work if you have absolute zero anything of a body of work. I have zero problem of doing something for free. I did a couple things for free at first, just to get the experience, to get the connections that led to the next thing. Like back in 2006, I was on the set of an indie movie called B-Girl. I got to be part of the extras, and it was a great experience. I got to see what an indie film set looked like, and I also got to connect with a lot of the b-boys in the local scene. So even though it was free, I got experience to be on set, and I got to make connections in the breaking community. Fast forward to now, have a little bit more body of work, more professional work. There's an audition that Temper Tantrum did earlier this year where we were supposed to be one of the main slots in performing. We were also supposed to get paid, but when we got the call, it was almost like a bait and switch, saying that instead of giving us a slot, we would be a supporting cast for this artist instead, and we would only get like a 1 minute or 2 minute feature of the whole team, and then only 2 of the dancers would get paid, which was not okay. That essentially what we auditioned for, and the main thing that we wanted to do, which is a paid gig as a team, was switched out to something for way less. And this is for an event that we really wanted to be a part of, but we said no. Like, even though we really wanted to be at that event, it wasn't worth it. Like, there's going to be plenty of events and stages like that, but it was disappointing that was swapped out for something less. So for you guys, if you're hesitant, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with free to get your feet wet, build proof, build a body of work, and then protect it. So in terms of building your body of work, class clips, collaboration videos, if you can do your own original concept that has a little bit more production value in it, that works too. Even the things that you do that were on stage for any sort of production, or even collaborations with any videographer. So anything that shows your skill and your look, your marketability in different aspects. The next lesson is get into the right rooms. Try to build those connections, essentially. A friend of mine moved to Vegas and immediately tried to make connections with the dance industry and the dance community there. She would post stories of like, do I know anyone that lives in Vegas who's connected with these colleges, these studios? And then she would also reach out to other friends who moved there and she reconnected with, and then to see if there was anyone else that happened to be 6 degrees of separation that she can make connections with. Take them to lunch, send them an email. But lo and behold, she's now teaching at some of the colleges, and she's also teaching at one of the bigger studios in Vegas. So that's just one way. I shared with it earlier in terms of if there's a specific artist that you're trying to work with, find out who the choreographer is, and take the class. Don't harass them on DMs, but feel free to ask them questions on their career. But the main thing is that you want to try to be in the orbit of the people that you're trying to work with. Auditions are one of them because it's a lot of people in the same trenches. Even if it's not the people who cast you that day, it might be the dancer in that room with you who eventually gets booked, and because you vibed so well and became friends, they might be the reason they book you. To make it tangible and actionable, take a mentorship program. Go to the choreographer that you want to work with. Take the class at least 100 times, and just go to 100 auditions. So next thing is fit versus identity. An unfortunate reality in the dance industry or entertainment industry. But sometimes there's a vision of what the writer, director, casting director, artist, that there's a certain look, age, dance style that they're looking for. And sometimes you may or may not fit the bill that day. Sometimes I've been to a casting call where everyone was in scantily clothing, and I immediately knew I was not getting booked that day. And other times they might just be looking for a 5'9" person that can do body rolls for days. I can probably do the body rolls, but I can't do much on being 5'9", so I'm not getting that. But I do know that there are aspects of, if they're looking for breakers, b-boys, hip-hop, or commercial style, I know I can do that. And a recent audition I did, when I was actually signing in, they're actually asking the guys for their height. And I was the only 5'2" and 3/4 guy there. Everyone else was 5'9". And they would say, thank you, 5'9", thank you, 5'9". And I'm like, I know I'm not getting this one because I didn't meet the height that they were looking for. I knew that I killed my shit with my freestyle and I killed the choreography, but I just did not fit the bill. And that's just the reality of it. They had a vision of what they were looking for, There's a specific height that they wanted, and I just didn't fit the bill that day. So next thing is the dance industry is a very tough profession. If you're insecure about your looks and a lot of that stuff, this shit will affect you. It affected me for a while, and it can really fuck with you. So I'm an advocate for therapy. I really appreciate who I've become through the tool of therapy. I don't use it as a crutch to be like, I'm going to dump my shit here and forget to be a good person. It's to help me process the things that are happening. And if you're new to this, there's going to be a lot of aspects that are going to be challenging, whether it's getting a lot of rejections, the typecasting, some of the people you work with, and or sometimes the scarcity of the money, that where you just don't have work for a few months and you have to get a regular job for a bit. The next one is having a community or a support group. If you're close with your parents, fucking awesome. If you have close friends, talk to them. If you have friends who are in the same journey as you, who are also pursuing dance, keep them close, talk to them, because they'll understand the struggles. It's different when the person knows exactly what you're going through. Again, a little nuance and caveat to that. Be careful who you befriend as well. I know there are dancers, specifically men, who are fucking scumbags. So be careful when you're creating your community. All right, so that's it. 11 tips on helping you guys get started on your dance journey. Hope you guys found this useful, because this is only my hemisphere of what I know. I know there's dancers in way higher levels than I am, and that I would love to learn from. I come from hip hop, and hip hop, one of the things that they do is each one teach one. So if you got a lesson, share it with me. I'm still a student to the whole thing. So other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.